This is Code.org, and we are going to create a scene that draws park images based on the area in acres of the national park. Write the choose_size method using the multi-select statements to check that the area of each national park, and return the size to draw the image. Okay, so this is similar to what we just did. Let's see. If the number of acres, okay, so we need to go to parkscene.java, and oh, cool, they added this handy one. Check the area of acres of the national park and decide the image side to use based on acres. Okay. And as we have already discussed, what does this multi-select look like? We need an if, okay, where we would put our first condition. We need an else if, where we put our next condition to be evaluated. And finally, we would have an else. There we are. All right, now what conditions are we evaluating? If the number of acres is greater than, wow, that's a big number. Let's see what we got there. So if it's greater than 1,000,000, I'm just doing this so I can read that. If it's greater than 1,000,000, return 100. And we should start with the largest size first. Because obviously if we started with something like this, which looks like 100,000, it would cause an issue. Because you got to keep in mind with multi-select statements, with if statements, that if this thing is true here, it never reaches this part. It just skips to the bottom of this statement. So whatever part of this is true, now if it was, let's say we have a park that is 500,000 acres. No, let's say it's 7 million acres, but I put this 100,000 check first. It's 7 million acres. That would be a problem because this would be true if the park's 7 million acres. It would never get to this stuff. It would be done. It would say this is true and jump beneath the multi-select statement. So with that in mind, we always want to put the largest number first and return the size. Cool. And so what I'll do now is, let's get this. We can't have those commas in there. And we want to see if acres is greater than. So it doesn't say greater than equal to. So if acres is greater than 1,000,000, I'm going to set size is going to be equal to 100. And if acres is greater than or equal to 100,000, I'm going to set size equal to 50. Otherwise, it looks like the default is equal to 25. Cool. So this is all looking good. Now, you can be fancy and just return it right here each time. I don't like that. This is more readable. And then we'll return size. So we'll go through this. If acres is greater than 1,000,000, size is equal 100. The rest of this never runs. And 100 be returned. Now, if this is false, say acres is equal to 400,000, well, this would be false, so then it has to run the else. And this else if it's 400,000 would be true, size would be 50, it doesn't run the else, 50 is returned. Now, if it's equal to 11 acres, false, the else must run, size is 25, 25 is returned. All right, so far, so good. Now let's see what we're doing in Theater. In Theater, call create scene method with the array. Okay, so, we have a lot of stuff in here already. 2, call create scene method. Okay, so what's our scene? My scene. Okay, so we're going to call that my scene is the instantiation, is the instance of the class. Create scene, and with the array, I guess they mean acres, because acres is an integer array. Okay. However, if I'm passing, guys, if you're passing a array to this, hold up. There's no reason that you would pass an array to create scene. We've used create scene before. We just created choose size. So I'm not sure what they're saying here. This is poorly worded. But regardless, bam, that's how it should be. Now this would make more sense. Theater.play scenes, because guys, the array is already getting passed of acres right up here. When we instantiate our object, when we create the instance of our class, the array is passed there, and it's stored within these two instance variables. So that the parks array, which is here, and the acres array are already saved within our class. So I don't know what they meant by that. It's poorly worded. But theater.play scenes. And what scene? Well, we're going to do our scene. So my scene. This is looking good. Let's see if there's any bugs. Oh, right. But now keep in mind, each time you run it, it might look a little different, but that's just because of how the data works on the back end. It could still be correct and look different next time I run it. This is cool. Let's do it again. Victory! Onward